U.S. move against Thailand on trade is a warning as Thai exports to America boomed in September. The decision, which came out of the blue this week after 12 years of talks, will impact Thai exports such as mango and pineapple, making them less competitive, threatening the market share or the margin of Thai exporters. The withdrawal of duty-free access to the United States for a range of Thai products should be seen by Thailand as another shot across its bows as the U.S. toughens its stance on trade. The decision made by the U.S. president is the second in 2 years and comes as Thailand's exports to the United States boomed in September with a massive 19.7% expansion. Robert Lighthizer of the U.S. Office of Trade Representative in Washington, D.C., Center, made the announcement at the end of the week. He said that the order came directly from the U.S. President Donald Trump. A decision by U.S. President Donald Trump has been announced to cut duty-free access to the United States across a range of Thai products valued at 25.3 billion baht commencing on the 30th of December. The trade affected includes the export of pineapples, mangoes, steel pipes and precious stones. The effect of the move will be to make these exports to the United States less competitive, which may impact Thailand's economy through loss of exports or margin to exporters. It comes at a time when Thailand is already projected to see an 8% fall for this year in exports due to the disruption to world trade caused by the COVID-19 crisis. Decision announced by the U.S. Office of Trade Representative but was made by U.S. President Trump. The decision was announced this week by Robert Lighthizer of the U.S. Office of Trade Representative in Washington, D.C. The Trump administration official, known for his tough-talking style, said that the decision had come from the U.S. President himself and followed a request from the National Pork Producers Council in 2018 to take action against Thailand. Second blow in 2 years to Thai exporters. This is the second action taken against Thailand in 2 years following last year's decision to remove another 41 billion baht in Thai goods from generous tariff-free access under the Generalized System of Preferences scheme operated in the United States across nearly 120 countries and over 3,500 types of exports or products. Last year it was labor conditions in Thailand. This year it is trade reciprocity as the U.S. gets tougher. Last year, the action was again linked with the National Pork Producers Council. At that time, the reason given for the decision was the lack of progress made by Thailand in advancing workers' rights in the kingdom. This latest announcement refers to a lack of reciprocal trade access for pork products. The official announcement cited lack of sufficient progress providing the United States with equitable and reasonable market access for pork products. The U.S. Trade Office said that it has engaged with Thailand for 12 years over the issue but had failed to find a reasonable compromise. At his first meeting with Thai Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha in early April this year, the new U.S. ambassador to the kingdom, Michael DeSomba, proposed a new, more proactive and wide-ranging trade deal between Thailand and the United States of America. Re-election of a U.S. president will deepen U.S.-China tensions and make things more challenging. The move comes with increasing tension between the United States, with all eyes on next week's U.S. presidential election. Despite international commentary and a perceived consensus that a Biden presidency would be equally tough on China, this cannot be taken at face value. It is quite likely that tensions would diminish. The re-election of U.S. President Donald Trump, however, will signal more robust and stringent action by the United States as it moves to counter China's expansion in Asia and across the world, both in trade, geopolitical and indeed military terms. In this respect, the planned move by Chinese firms offshore to Thailand will be reappraised in the light of the election result, or under a Trump administration, cooperation between China and Thailand will begin to attract the scrutiny of the U.S. administration. An example of this is Thailand's decision to partner with a Chinese firm Huawei in its communications infrastructure, notably in the Eastern Economic Corridor project in the eastern provinces. Thai trade policy is becoming more China-centric. Thailand's trade policy is increasingly moving towards China, and this may put it on a course for further friction with the United States if the U.S. president is re-elected. The proposed finalization of the RCEP, or Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, in November is a key policy objective for Thailand. This would represent one of the largest free trade pacts in the world between China, Australia, Japan, South Korea, New Zealand and the 10-nation ASEAN bloc including Thailand. This is something that does not sit well with the Trump administration, as it puts China at the heart of Asia-Pacific trade while the US has been more interested in bilateral agreements. The new bloc also pointedly excludes Taiwan, and at last year's ASEAN summit in Bangkok, India withdrew from it. Thailand's exports to the US boomed in September. The United States was Thailand's biggest export market in 2019, representing nearly 1 trillion baht or $29.7 billion. So far in 2020, to the end of September, the kingdom's exports are down and are projected to fall by up to 8% for the year. In May, the drop was expected to be over 9%, but a better-than-expected rebound in the United States has seen a massive 19.7% expansion in Thai exports to its biggest market in September 2020, even as it saw a contraction in both Japan and Europe. It also saw a 6.9% expansion of exports to China, its second-largest export market.